Are you not entertained? Inflation just came in lower than expected and Bitcoin is pumping once more. In yesterday's video, I discussed how it was a scam pump up to $90,000 and we made it all the way back down to 85K. But the chop continues. Now Bitcoin is currently back at $89,000. What is next in this market? I think that this is another shakeout. In today's video, I'll be going over why I think that is. I'll be telling you what my trades are, and of course, taking you through the most recent data. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. All right, so kicking us off with Bitcoin as we normally do, you can see that we essentially came all the way down to the low 85K level after yesterday's scam pump, and now we are back to, well, we made it today back to around $89,400. But I have to remind you that the trend is still down. Don't fight the trend. That is the best piece of advice I can give you. Zoom out on the chart. What are we looking at here? Since 126K, Bitcoin has continued to make lower highs. So what are we seeing right now? Is this the trend shift? I don't think so. Again, look, if Bitcoin can make it above $90,000, I would actually consider adding to my most recent Bitcoin shorts. And you can see here that there's tons of liquidity right above this level. Can we get a shakeout? Yes, of course that is possible. However, I am still favoring a move lower, tagging this downside liquidity. You can see that yesterday's daily candle was quite horrific, and so I would like to see us come back down and test below $84,000, and then we have the discussion about potentially testing the low 80K zone. I don't think that this is the start of the relief rally, as I put it in yesterday's video. That being said, I firmly believe we will be having a relief rally, but it's likely in 2026. So right now, Bitcoin managed to pump up to around 89.5K, and as I'm recording this video, we are back to 88.3K. The US market is about to open, and I'm trying to make an effort to post my video right around the time that it opens by popular request. And so how am I navigating this? Well, you can see my most recent trades. I have a Solana short, which I opened. It's currently sitting just around $7,000 in profit. It was in significantly more profits as we moved lower yesterday. And of course, my Bitcoin dominance long, which is on Bluffin. This is the price action for Bitcoin dominance to thrive. If you don't believe me, it's simple. Every single time we get a pump, altcoins finally seem to believe like, okay, we can get a move higher. Then we retrace, and naturally Bitcoin closed the day not even that bad yesterday in terms of percentage. However, altcoins closed the day much, much lower. And naturally, this contributes to Bitcoin dominance continue to increase. Now, we got another move to the upside here. Altcoins finally started to catch up. But if this ends up retracing once more as we test the bottom of this bearish pattern, well, naturally, you know that altcoins will suffer more. I'm still firmly holding on to my Bitcoin dominance long because I do think that Bitcoin dominance will continue to increase. And I would be adding to my short, as I mentioned, for my Solana short, that is, only if Bitcoin can tag some upside liquidity. Otherwise, I think that we just end up going lower from here. That's how I'm trading this market. And also, I've been receiving some pretty negative comments because I've been a little bit more bearish when we get these kinds of pumps. But guys, remember, I stand to benefit much more, as a matter of fact, if Bitcoin just decides to continue to pump. The reason I say this, you can see my most recent Bitcoin long. This is when I knife caught right around this level when Bitcoin dumped to 80K. I managed an entry just below $83,000, and I've been talking about it ever since. All the trades that you're seeing right here on my screen right now are the active trades that I shared in my free premium group. These are my own personal trade setups. So if you want to join that group, make sure to click the first link in my description down below. It brings you to my Telegram. You DM me the keyword premium, and I'd be happy to onboard you into that group where you get access to all of my own personal trades for free, of course. Now, the only requirement is that you've signed up with one of my exchange links. If you're, for example, already trading on Bluffin, we can easily transfer you under my referral, and you can start trading as you've normally been doing, but you get access to my group. And speaking of which, if you haven't already joined Bluffin, make sure you do, because there's a $1,000 bonus on the table over this holiday season. It's essentially free money. Now, please remember that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing that I discuss on the channel should be construed as financial advice. I'm just a guy on the internet sharing his own crypto trades and his overall analysis. So what is next for Bitcoin? We're sitting right around $88,400. But if we can grab that upside liquidity right above 91K, I would be more than happy to enter a little bit of a more aggressive short, depending on the reaction that we get. We've been seeing this movement time and time again. We get a big move up. For example, this was around the yearly open, got rejected. Then another big move up. We didn't manage to grab the liquidity above here. Then we ended up bleeding lower with some moves up. So I still think that the trend is very clearly down. We broke to the downside, and the only time that I'd really be willing to shift is if we can reclaim the yearly open, which is quite high from here, all the way up to around $93,500. I also get some flack for saying, oh, okay, so if we reclaim a level, which is already a few $1,000s higher than where the current price is, why would you start longing there? It's clear. This is an important level to reclaim. Reclaims are so important. I couldn't put it any simpler. Some people just want to pile into longs here, and then naturally we end up bleeding lower. Wait until we get relevant reclaims if you're looking to enter a long in this market, in my opinion. Perhaps the first one could be holding above this level, which is found right around $89,000. Starting to get daily closes here, that could be a potential long trigger targeting the top of this flag. So, how am I playing this? Well, you already know. I'm holding on to my long as well, just in case I am wrong, to repeat myself about this. Now, inflation. Well, it came in lower than expected. 2.6% core inflation year over year, 2.7% inflation rate year over year. This is ultimately positive, and it should, in theory, boost the odds of a rate cut. Yesterday, we addressed this, and there was around a 75% chance that there was going to be no changes. Now there's around a 73% chance. So it didn't really boost the odds that much, all things considered, but it is something for you to pay attention to. And just a quick update on the Bitcoin spot ETFs, you can see that yesterday we got just under $500 million worth of inflows. BlackRock contributing to around 111 million and Fidelity just under 400 million. And the last thing I want to show you in this extremely quick video, once more, is the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map. Any kind of pump we get, you can see that longs continue to pile into the market. If we go on the 30-day time frame, they are still relatively even. Now, some of you were asking me about this liquidity. How do you read it? When we're ranging, liquidity typically acts like a magnet. So what do I mean by this? If Bitcoin just continues to chop around where we're currently at, it will likely grab liquidity on both sides of this chart. On the left here, it's cumulative long liquidation leverage. On the right here, it's cumulative short liquidation leverage. So seeing that this is relatively even and the trend is still very much down tells me that we will likely favor grabbing the long liquidity. Can we get a spike up to around this 91K region, which I alluded to earlier in the video, and then come back down? Of course, that's a possibility, and I would be looking to trade that. But the point is, when we are still very much in a downtrend, you want to pay attention to the long liquidity. The reason I say this is because if we continue to get moments where long liquidity piles up as Bitcoin continues to go lower, it's actually fuel to continue to go lower. And the reverse is also true. So if Bitcoin is uptrending and we have tons of cumulative short liquidation leverage, it gives us more fuel to move higher. That's how you should be interpreting this chart. And so to me, at least, the most logical thing you can do is play the trend. And we are still very much in a downtrend. Can we get spikes to grab some upside liquidity? Of course. But as people continue to pile into longs, we will likely grab that downside liquidity much faster and more aggressive than you could imagine. And that sums up today's quick video. Bitcoin pumped yesterday, completely retraced, and now today we're pumping again all the way up to above $89,000. The only time that I would adjust any of my existing positions is if Bitcoin were to grab that upside liquidity around $91,000 and we get the rejection that we're looking for. Until then, I maintain my Bitcoin long from the lows, I maintain my Solana short, I maintain my Ondo short, and I also maintain my Bitcoin dominance long. If you want to know exactly how I'm trading this market, remember you do have the first link in my description down below. But guys, there's not that much to update on. Inflation came in lower than expected, we got a nice move to the upside. Now the question is, are we still going to grab some more upside liquidity before likely moving lower, or has the trend finally shifted? You know my thoughts. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. As always, I have my bluff and leveraging tutorial right here, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.